welcome to the latest episode of the GI Huddle, sponsored by Ainsworth, a leading supplier of gaming machines, software, and related equipment. Today we're speaking to Jim Allen, CEO of Seminole Gaming and Chairman of Hard Rock International, two-time winners at this year's Global Gaming Awards, Las Vegas. Hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. Thanks for joining us.
Our pleasure.
So the first question I wanted to ask you, obviously we're in November now. As we near the end of 2020, such a different year, such a tumultuous year, how do you reflect on a challenging year for the industry?
Well, I think your adjectives are certainly appropriate. I mean, obviously COVID, 100-year event, certainly changed, I think, the way all of us look at business in any sector. Certainly when we think about the hotel, casino, and most importantly, the restaurant business, probably, three of the hardest hit categories, certainly airlines and cruise ships, but been a real challenge. But the good news is our business is coming back from the casino side. The restaurants, still extremely challenged, but we continue to move forward because most importantly, it's the safety of our guests and employees and members of the Seminole tribe.
Mm-hmm. How do you look ahead to prospects of 2021, given, as you say, some uplift in gaming levels after some pent-up demand, but also possibly with the recent vaccine news? I know it's a little speculative at this point, but that's obviously positive.
Well, I think one of the tremendous assets of the Hard Rock brand is its global footprint, being in 76 countries around the world. So until we see the airline industry, tourism and travel, start to rebound in a healthy way, I think we need to be very cautious. I think in markets, say like here in South Florida, where I'm based here today, where it's a little bit more of a regional market, and obviously a state like Florida having 21 million people, I think that business model can remain, moving in a proper direction of one trying to be somewhat optimistic. But certainly destination locations, say like, Times Square, where we're still closed literally as of today, because candidly, the hotels are virtually empty. There's not much airlift. The theater district is closed until further notice. We are extremely concerned about that business on a long-term basis.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of caution there. How do you kind of exercise caution when you're sort of planning day to day and when it comes to short-term and medium-term planning?
I think all the businesses now have certainly, and some operators probably better than others, but looking at margins, looking at fixed costs such as labor, rents, trying to work with our landlords, trying to recognize it's a two-way street, certainly looking at all those overhead challenges and how can we be smarter utilizing technology. Certainly, in the Cafe division, things like Uber and Grubhub and, delivery and, all those things are some of the tools that we're trying to utilize.
And we recently spoke at the Global Gaming Awards, where you won the Land-Based Operator of the Year award and the Property of the Year award with the Guitar Hotel in Florida. And obviously that's quite a much more positive note than any conversation we can have about COVID and coronavirus. How, on the Guitar Hotel note, how hopeful are you of a strong year for that property, given, of course, there are challenges?
Yeah, certainly COVID has hit Florida like all the other states. I guess the good news is from a business perspective, the government, Governor DeSantis, is, still trying to keep an open mindset to allow businesses to stay open with there are restrictions, but certainly not tremendous restrictions. There certainly were some, but he's lifted most of those. And candidly, the hotel is meeting or actually exceeding our expectations from a profitability standpoint. But traffic counts are certainly down from where we had hoped, just based upon foot traffic and tourism, here into the state of Florida and specifically South Florida.
And when it comes to your other properties in 2021, I know it depends on region and state, but what are your general hopes for some of your main properties?
I think 2021 is a year of caution. We do think there are some bright spots starting to develop, but I think we're certainly not optimistic. We do believe that 2022 has some real upside, as you mentioned, assuming the vaccine has proper distribution. Vaccines, I should say. Obviously, we now have two, but proper distribution. What percentage of the population is going to take the vaccine? What happens with the perception from the media with COVID? We certainly think there's a lot of those things need to fall into place. But if they do, unfortunately, for others, somewhat good for us, a lot of restaurants are closing and closing permanently. In many cases, we hear numbers of 30, 40, 50, 60% of the restaurants that were open pre-COVID will not be in existence by the commencement of 2022. We know we will close permanently some of our locations, but the majority of them will be open. Therefore, maybe we can reap some of the benefits of less competition in certain marketplaces.
Sure. And my final question to you, based on everything you've just said there, have you got any kind of big new developments in the pipeline? And if not, is that really the result of kind of the current climate at the moment?
Interesting enough, that's the one division that is extremely busy. There has been zero slowdown with deals in the hotel area and zero slowdown with our casino and destination resorts. I will tell you that we're not looking to open any new Hard Rock cafes domestically, company-owned stores, but certainly on a global basis, where we would normally open, say, 15 to 20, 25, it being in a high year on an annual basis, and those numbers have probably come down more like 10 to 15.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jim, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck, obviously, during these challenging times to everyone at the company. And thank you for your answers.
Well, we certainly thank you for having an interest in the Hard Rock brand.
To our viewers, thanks for watching. For the latest developments in the US market, be sure to head to GamingAmerica.com, where we've just released the November-December edition of Gaming America magazine.